I'm going to use my page for the next few weeks to be a source of education as well as support, motivation, opportunity, and just overall, I want to make people aware of factual information without hype, without any kind of manipulation. So with that, I have a guest today. I'm going to bring him on. His name is Rick Gutman, and I've been working with him for 2 years now. And what's really beneficial, I think, about this live today is that I want to talk about perspective, patience, and innovation. So these are three things that I think everybody needs at this point. We need to really understand what we can do. So not just taking in the emotion of everything, but then how to go into action and really make the best of the next couple weeks that we have this time where we are working from home, or the kids are home. And I wanted to just bring on Rick to talk a little bit about that, because he has experience socially, emotionally, financially with things like this. So he has been through a lot of things where he has lost a lot in his life. He's been in 3 different industries. So he's a successful business owner, but he's one of those people that, went through with an economic downfall, as well as, personal downfalls where he has lost everything, but he has managed to always come back. So I think that that's an important thing to realize for people who may be going through something like this for the first time, where they're not sure what their next step is. I think that this can bring a little bit of clarity and hopefully some inspiration to you. So I'm going to bring on Rick. Hello, Rick. How are you?
Hello. I'm happy to be here with you.
Well, thanks you so much for being here. Well, I was introducing you to my audience, and I know that I brought you on a few times before, but this time is a little bit different because I want to kind of really talk to people on a level of complete overall mental, emotional, physical, financial health. And I saw something Gary Vaynerchuk posted, which was 3 things people need right now is perspective, patience, and innovation. And I kind of wanted to get your perspective on that, because I think that, as a person who has been through ups and downs with your life and also your business, this is a new thing, but you tend to kind of see how things are going to pan out, and you bring a sense of calm as well. So I wanted you to kind of bring that to my network today and just give me a little bit of your opinion of what you think people should be doing based on your experiences right now.
Sure. Well, business can be really, really exciting. When you have
Mm-hmm.
financial education and when you have a financial education, you can navigate your way, whether you're in an up market or a down market or a pandemic. When everybody's running in fear,
Mm-hmm.
you can keep your feet on the ground, and regardless of the way the wind blows, you can set your sail and grow prosperous either way. And that comes with knowing what to do, how to do it. Cool heads prevail. And now, when situations like what the world is experiencing right now, especially in this country, nothing takes me by surprise because I fell in love with the process of business.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 businesses now, and it's really exciting to deal with the challenges of making solid decisions when it looks like there's the wind of resistance, that's
Mm-hmm.
hitting you. I did not see Gary Vaynerchuk's post, but I like those 3, and so maybe let's explore that a little bit. I think you said the first one was perspective.
Yeah.
The perspective that most of the working class people have, 90, I would say 85% of the population are the working class type, meaning they work for somebody else. Okay. Then you have small business owners and you have big business owners and you have investors, full-time investors. And perspective looks different from an employee perspective, especially if they've never owned businesses. They've never felt the heat of navigating their way through solving the problems. If you're a business owner of any sort, you solve problems every single day. Now, employees solve problems every day as well, but they're guaranteed a paycheck. The owner is not.
Mhm.
Okay. And so when you have a working class understanding and a working class language, you mostly have a consumer mindset, which can be put you in a place of fear and panic because you don't feel like you have control, right? When you see the stock market plummet, you think the world is ending and everyone is losing. What you don't get is the other perspective where a lot of people are getting rich, right? Because the old method of buy low and sell high still works today and always will to the end of time, right? Buy
Mhm.
low and sell high. And so when a person buys low to sell high, no matter what that is, whether it's vehicles, real estate, stocks, new business ventures, what have you, it's because they have a higher understanding than people that are looking at it from one perspective and are walled shut in by fear, right? Because those that are getting very rich understand that this too shall pass, right? And so they know that this season will pass and it'll bounce back, and in many cases bounce back even stronger than it ever was, because they begin to understand human nature. And when people are back to work, they're very thankful they're back to work. They're happy in their heart, and they feel like they have answers again, and they feel like they're gaining control again. And so they put their heart in their job like never before. They have a new vigor because they are so appreciative and grateful that they still have a job, right? And
Mhm.
so normally it bounces back. So those that have the other perspective of how to maneuver in a down market understand that side of it. And so you won't find them in depression. You'll find them innovative. You'll find them creating those new ideas. You'll find them positioning themselves. You'll find them in their happy place. They won't be solemn and sad like many other people, because they see the other side of it. They don't just see it from one perspective. Okay. So with that being said, I would want to invite everyone to change your perspective by getting some financial education, right? Um, and if you are tired of being in that place of fear, then you can change your perspective by gaining that education, right? Because in a down market is when entrepreneurship thrives. Some of the biggest companies in the world were birthed in a down market, birthed in a market that was plummeting, because people get sick of feeling victimized, and they're like, you know what, I'm taking the bull by the horns this time. I'm taking my life by storm. I'm going to become the CEO of my life. I'm not going to subject myself to being blown around by the wind. I'm not going to subject myself to being called in the office and having to take a forced furlough or being laid off or any of that. Like I'm going to be in control of my life once and for all. It pushes them beyond their comfort zone till they're ready to take larger risks, and in effect it actually pushes them closer to their destiny and their call. And there are things that everyone is supposed to do in this life that are probably much greater than they think, but times like this can push them into a position where they can thrive. And so that perspective is very valuable, right? If I change my perspective from fear and oh my gosh to, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this situation. I'm not going back here anymore. In fact, I'm never going to experience this again. I'm going to start something new. I'm going to put myself on a different journey. I will never ever suffer fear or loss like this again. In fact, the next time this rolls around, I'm not just going to be ready for it. I'm going to thrive in it. What did they do? They changed their perspective. What was the
So
next
how
one?
can,
Patience.
well, the patience, yes.
Are
Let's take
you
a drink.
wanting to stay on that point first, or
What, patience? Oh
do
no,
you want
well,
me to move into patience?
I want you to move into patience. Go ahead.
Okay, so that one requires thought because I didn't listen to that, and you and I didn't plan on talking about that. But my idea of patience in a time like this is to be still, right? Have a cool head, be still, and in your patience, start making your plan, right? Stay committed, start making a plan, stay focused. You can stay focused in the middle of a storm, right? When you stop regarding the wind and the waves and the oh my gosh, and you stop telling yourself the story of fear that's probably not going to happen, probably 100% is not going to happen. Uh, then you become patient in the storm and you look around and you're like, look, I'm not doing anything anyway. This is a good time for me to reflect on my life and the direction that I want. In fact, it's a good time for me to be patient and change my identity. And changing your identity is not changing your driver's license. Changing your identity is like, I've been known as, a realist, a contractor, and I'm going to learn a new skill set, and I'm going to learn how to be a business owner of a different type. I'm going to learn how to invest, or I'm going to start a network marketing business. I'm going to change my identity. I'm going to get educated in this. And as I become educated in it, it's going to change my language because my understanding is changing. And I'm going to begin to talk about it more and more because it's exciting to me. And then you're going to start building a new network, and people are going to seek you out, not because you were a contractor, but because you're in the network marketing space and they find your thoughts valuable and they want to get involved with you because maybe you have a tendency to win in everything you put your hand to, and your friends and associates know that about you, that you don't fail, especially for too long, right? You'll have certain setbacks, but you always end up on top. So they want to join you and go, you know what, if you're doing this, I'm doing this because I know that you always find a way to win. So in that patience, it gives you a time to refocus, right? To fight to stay in focus and be productive with the time you have instead of being home and worrying and watching soap operas, right? You can do something really productive and start planning out the next 5 years of your life. Patience and being calm and being cool headed is where you prevail. It's where you overcome. It's where you gain inward momentum because ideas get you excited. You start getting excited. You start taking your eyes off of that old perspective and you start setting your sail into a new journey, and you start attaching dreams and goals to it, and you start making a plan. You start getting creative, right? And so it takes patience for you to calm down, grab your notebook, and start making a plan, right? And you change the course of your life. It's probably a good time for me to say this. We're surrounded by multi-millionaires and billionaires on everything, right? From the person that made this, this circular light that I'm sitting in front of, to the person that designed this type of desk that moves up and down, from the person that created that whiteboard, right? For whatever you look, or the way you look around, the clothes you're wearing, to the shoelaces, to the pieces of the shoelaces that are on it. Like, we are surrounded by people's ideas, right? And if they can do it, you can do it. You are surrounded by treasure. We are surrounded by billionaires and their ideas. And it started at some point in their life where they decided to be patient and make a plan. If they can make a plan, you can make a plan.
Yes, I agree. Well, and that kind of leads into the innovation part. I think that, you know, sometimes our school system stifles creativity as we go through because there, tends to be a right and a wrong way, right answer, wrong answer, right? But in real life, you need to be creative to solve a problem. And I think that's a lot of where people panic, because in situations where they don't feel under control, and we are lucky as a society that we do live the lifestyle we live normally, because, other areas of the world don't have the consistency and the luxuries that we have. So I think that sometimes we are not prepared to be creative to solve our own problems because we've been so, like you said, 85% of our population are more employee and consumer mindset, right? So I think innovation may be very difficult for some people because they haven't practiced that. They haven't practiced that sense of, okay, what can I do here instead of having this huge, feeling of overwhelm and thinking that I can only accomplish something one way. How can I innovate then and do something and, make something work, especially financially for the next couple of weeks for people who may not be getting paid. So, what's your thoughts on that with innovation?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I remember many years ago, I read a book called A Whole New Mind by the author's name is Daniel Pink. And he talked about, in the 1980s, everybody wanted to be an engineer, and the highest paying degrees were engineering degrees. And because we were in a time
Mhm.
of the information age, and that was very valuable for businesses to have that information and that digital data and all of that. And we've moved from the information age into the conceptual age concepts, creativity, roundtables, think tanks, things like that. And now the degrees in the fine arts are basically the foundations for the highest paid jobs in the world. So people are going after degrees in the fine arts because they're really understanding that when a person can tap into creativity and concepts, that they really can be innovative and bring great value to companies. So the highest paid jobs have stepped into those that are the most creative. I think that we're limited when we're creative for a job with a guarantee than we would be creative if we were attached our dream to it and when we had the most to gain, right? That's
Mhm.
why I love capitalism because it causes us to to come up with great ideas, and you can attach a dream to capitalism, and your dreams are limited if you work for somebody else because it's very difficult to become wealthy working for somebody else when they control your time, right? You want to control your own time. The wealthiest people in the world have a a solid common denominator, and that is they regard time as greater and more uh, greater value than money. So they end up with both, right? And that's why they set up systems and things like that that will run itself, so the cash flow finds them day and night. So so being innovative is the key to many things, and innovation is what makes your journey fun because again you're dreaming, again you're thinking about the things you're going to do and how it's going to work, and find and solving problems, and you're solving problems for your dreams to come into fruition. And you know that the sky is the limit when it comes to that dream. There's no ceiling because you can make as much as you want. You're global. You can, it could possibly have a global reach, right? So like you can is your only boundary is the boundary of the lack of creativity. So you put your whole heart in it, you put your love in it, you put your passion in it, and it unlocks treasures that would otherwise be closed to you. So it's very, very important to carry all three. I love that he said that, because it really causes me to think. But, I think just in when you think of perspective, patience, and innovation, I mean, imagine if you were to write a paragraph or more, just let your mind run on if you could change your perspective, what that would look like. You could really probably fill up 10 pages of notes. And then the value of
Mhm.
patience, you can probably write another 10 page of notes. And then when it comes to create innovation, you could probably write a whole book on all the ideas that you have and how you're going to do it, and how fun that journey can be, especially when you see it go from the drawing board of your mind or in your office into becoming what you've been seeing, right? When we go to Disneyland, we're looking at Walt Disney's dream that was in his mind, right? And look at the
Mhm.
joy that has created for people around the world, multiple locations, and the superpower it has become in the area of business, not just from rides. Started with rides and a way to escape and experience a fantasy land, to big business and movie productions and commercial properties and hotels. And I mean, he saw all of that. That was all in his mind. And every single person has a beautiful ability to be innovative. The only difference is to change your perspective and stop being fearful, and take that innovation and attach it to a new perspective, and then be patient, and then be committed and focused, and write it down, write out your goals, and watch that thing come to life.
So, what would you advise the small business owners in terms of those three? Because that was originally what Gary Vee was talking about. He was talking about those three in relation to business. And he said, if you are a small business owner, these are the three things that you definitely need to be practicing right now. And so when we talk about that, there are several small business owners, either they've only been in business maybe a short time, and then this hit, or they've been in business and doing things the same way for so long that maybe they have to change things. And maybe they're in a profession or a particular industry where it is primarily person to person, and it is very difficult. For example, my sister, her company is an art company, and people really don't buy art online too much. They usually go in person. They want to see the artwork in person. Now they have this, since this whole thing has happened, her company's coming up with this whole contingency plan of how they can move and still do things online, but it's still going to be difficult, obviously. So what do you think, like, for those small business owners right now, in terms of those three and the innovation especially, what do they need to be thinking about?
Systems, right? Because systems create wealth. The hazards of a self-employed person, meaning they bought themselves a job, is they most likely don't have a system that runs itself without their active involvement, right?
Mhm.
It's almost braille to them, because self-employed people, small business owners, have a very difficult time delegating responsibility to their employees, because their employees have a renter's mentality, not a business ownership mentality, right? So they check in and
Mhm.
check out, they punch in and punch out, and very rarely do they take their business home with them, like the small business owners. So the small business owners have a theme, song, and that's called "I Did It My Way," right? And that theme song is because they know that if you want the job done right, you do it yourself. That's the second thing that they really fall under. And I was that for many years. 17 years old, started businesses. I've only owned businesses my whole adult life. And I will tell you that that's the struggles. So small business owners, self-employed people don't have a system. They are the system. And so when they go on vacation, as you know, the system goes with them and the income stops. So what I would be thinking about right now, for the next turnaround, is how I can create a system, or even in this situation, how can I create a system that would keep my employees working and have me work less? Systems run themselves, right? So you want, one of the four categories of cash flowing assets is businesses that run themselves, because they have a system attached to them, right? So you have stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, you have real estate, you have businesses, and you have commodities, right? So in the business category, you want something that could run itself. Thank God that somebody decided to put together a system that, even though people are in self quarantine, or if it got worse and everybody was in quarantine, except those that could punch in an app and they could deliver groceries and they can deliver food from restaurants. The restaurants are closed, but the apps and the phone can still have people come and deliver that food for them. How brilliant is that? Right? That's a
Mhm.
system. So So, you know, my advice to those that have a small business is either find a way you know, build a system so you don't have a job. You know, Kiyosaki used to tell us, don't build a job, build a system, right? Don't get a job, get a system. So build your business around your system. And if it's not possible for you to do that, then go step into what we do in the network marketing space, where it is built around a system where you're leveraging a fulfillment center, and then you're in self quarantine for as much as you want. Everybody's in self quarantine around the United States and around the globe right now, and I'm thinking, man, welcome to my life. This is what I do every day, you know, because I don't work for a living. My systems produce cash flow, and anyone can do that if they're willing to learn a skill set, right? And so if you own a business, you know, make this be the last time. Start looking at new avenues. You know, why do I have three companies? Because I want to have multiple businesses. You know, I don't want to be limited. I like going, you know what? I have this space here and it's really beautiful and it's producing a tremendous amount of cash flow. And then I get great joy in being innovative and starting building something different, right? And then taking the same keys to wealth and building something even more different. That's challenging. It's beautiful, but I wouldn't build anything that didn't have a system, right? And so if
Mhm.
I can build 3 and 4 and 5, you know, I won't stop until I have probably 20 or 30 companies. I love that because I love cash flowing assets, right? And so once people get the hang of that and they get out of that old mindset that says, nope, you got to have this job for the next 40 years, and you know, this is what grandpa did and we're going to do the same thing. No, you can have both if you want to, or you could start a
Mhm.
new thing. You have a mind that is full of creativity, and you just got to start on a piece of paper and write some outlines make it vague and then add detail to it, you know.
Mhm.
I'm building I wrote an owner's manual of everything I've ever learned in the network marketing space and all of that, and I'm already at, you know, 137 chapters, right? And it's so fun to take those thoughts and turn them into, you know, major topics. And when you're writing a book or you're writing a manual such as what I'm doing, you know, you start out with the chapters and then you fill in all the details, right? And
Mhm.
so people can start that way with their dreams. What do I want to build? Do I want to, you know, what kind of business do I want to build? You start with the outline of what it looks like, and then you start filling in the details, right? You start with the basics, and then let your thoughts go a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper. Before you know it, you possibly have created a beautiful business that's built around a system, and now your arc is sailing. You've been building an arc, and building a new business or a new idea or a new journey is like building an arc. Nobody sees the arc in the beginning. In fact, everybody makes fun of the arc in the beginning. But when the rain comes and the arc can float and keep leads you to a, you know, a whole different beautiful place, everyone's like, "How did you do that? Oh my gosh!" And you know, they were the ones that were mocking you, and you know, now they want to jump on your arc. You know, where did that come
Mhm.
from? Perspective,
Yeah.
patience, and innovation.
Mhm. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Rick, for joining me today. I think that this will be very helpful for a lot of people. But yeah, definitely keeping cool heads and problem solving. That's where we need to go from here. So you have a
Yes,
great
yes,
rest of
ma'am.
your
Well, have a
day.
wonderful day, and thanks for having me.
Yes. All right. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
All right.